Guys, today's podcast is in partnership with Stone & Co Solicitors, experts in serious and complex criminal matters. If you have a criminal matter that you need help with or you've been arrested and want the best representation, contact the number below or drop them an email. All the information is on the screen below, as you can see. Stone & Co can offer specialist criminal defense services on a private basis or legal aid, so you don't pay nothing. And as a promotional offer, they're offering a case review in person or over the phone, free of charge, no obligation, no fees, and they'll take a look at your case, guys. Welcome to the Kick It Up That's Media YouTube channel, guys. Today I've got a very special guest with a very inspirational story. Inshallah, it's going to be a massive benefit and something like a curveball, something completely different, when we get there, inshallah. I want to introduce the guest, inshallah. Bro, introduce yourself. Assalamu alaikum first.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you for coming, appreciate it. You came from East London, Bethnal Green, yeah?
Yeah.
What's your name? Introduce yourself, bro.
My name is Ruhel. I work for East London Mosque, Haji Taslim's funerals. Basically, I'm doing the washing, the whole funeral from A to Z.
The washing of the bodies.
Everything.
You know, in recent times, we've seen a brother from Australia on TikTok. He's got quite a big, awareness.
Yeah.
And he washes bodies and it's very impactful when he talks about it. But we're going to get to that later on. But first I want to start from the beginning so people know. Where you originally from, your parents, and where did you grow up?
I'm originally from Bangladesh. That's where my parents come from. I grew up in Hackney. All my life I grew up in Hackney.
What part of Hackney?
London Fields. I don't know if you know that area.
Yeah, of course.
London Fields. And then obviously Clapton. And you got all these other areas as well, nearby areas as well.
Okay, your parents are originally from...
My parents are originally from Bangladesh. So
Mashallah.
obviously they moved over here when my grandparent came over here.
Okay.
So yeah.
And you were born in the UK, yeah?
I was born in the UK and pretty much all my life I've been here.
And when you were growing up, like, how was it growing up, in Hackney, East London? Because a lot of the Bangladeshi communities in Whitechapel and stuff like that, Hackney's a little bit,
Yeah, it's been rough. I'm not gonna lie, like obviously it's tough. Like wherever you're growing up, it can get, I don't know, I mean, like, it can be difficult. It depends on the person. Alhamdulillah, for me it was alright, I knew the people around my area. We all grew up. We had a nice little community.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knew everyone. That's how it was. If you're outside, obviously, it's a bit of a difficult situation because when you're outside, you're going to be treated differently.
Of course,
you're not going to get that same kind of respect or love or anything, But, back then it was a little bit more different.
And did Hackney have like an Asian community there?
It did. It wasn't as large. It was more of a small minority, I would say.
Okay.
It wasn't anything large as what you have in Tower Hamlets, or if you were to go down to East Ham or Plaster or anything like that. Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing like that. It's more of a small minority,
And like growing up in like going primary school, secondary school, how was your like behaviour at school? And
I'll be real with you. Primary, I was alright, it wasn't so bad. Secondary, it became, a little bit more, I don't know, like you could easily fall off like your bandwagon easily because you could get sidetracked and, a lot of things can, come your way and you might, take interest in so many different things, so many obstacles that comes.
temptations
Of
and
course, desire.
fitna, innit?
Yeah, of course, everything,
Yeah. And
you
so,
know.
So going through like, how was your behaviour generally? Like, were you learning or were you just messing about?
To be honest, at the beginning it started off quite well. I did want to carry on with my education and whatnot. I did want to, progress in life. I did want to, do something productive, I would say. But unfortunately, the way things, just went, it wasn't really how I planned, things,
You start getting into trouble and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Or like
So
fighting and stuff.
all sort of things, like, you start getting into things that you shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be, yeah, of course.
So
At that young age, you're like...
young age,
immature.
you could get into drugs, you could get into
Yeah.
all sort of things,
Of course.
It starts off from stealing, stealing cars, all sort of things. You know,
It starts always small, isn't it?
small little things, and then it becomes big. You know.
And did you finish your GCSEs?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't. You know, like as I said, my whole secondary school, from probably year 8 to year 11, it was like on and off. Like I'll probably be going in and out the school.
Okay.
It wasn't really, I wasn't really on the ball at all.
How did your parents feel that you wasn't really learning, you messing about a little bit?
I'll be real with you. At the time, I don't think they really had a clue. Maybe a little inkling, but they didn't really know what was happening. You know how it is. Most families, Asian household, if they're involved, they would know.
No,
They would know exactly where the kid is or where the child is. They would know whereabouts. But sometimes, when you're left
to your own devices.
exactly, you can end up doing whatever you feel like doing.
That's exactly what happens. Yeah.
100%.
So once you got kicked out, would you get kicked out then?
Not really. I didn't really get
You
kicked
didn't
out
go?
or anything. I just didn't go because I
Okay.
chose different path, different things.
Okay.
And at the same time, a lot of things plays a part as well. If you don't get the love from certain places,
Oh, of course, you don't get love from inside the home.
exactly.
innit? You look for
your
outside.
home. It could be outside. It could be your school environment. Anything.
Yeah, exactly.
When you don't get that kind of love that you want, or a little bit appreciation that you want from certain people, if you don't get that, then you could easily end up going the wrong way, or you could end up doing other things, whatever you feel like you want to do.
Because then you go look for that in the gangs and stuff like that. That
Absolutely.
love and appreciation basically.
Absolutely, yeah.
So now you've dropped out of secondary school. Obviously you're outside just doing stupid things basically.
I'm just doing whatever I feel like doing, whatever I need, or whatever it's my necessity, I'm gonna go out there and go and get. So whatever I was doing
Yeah,
at the time.
the things that you
But-
shouldn't be doing basically.
Yeah.
You don't have to elaborate on it and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but obviously we know what happens outside,
Yeah, of course.
And Marshall obviously made a massive transition. And stuff.
Alhamdulillah. It's taken a long time because end of the day, it can be a cycle.
Yeah.
People can get trapped into these sort of things, and it could just go round in circle. Like you could easily go round in circle and not come out of it.
And I suppose coming from like somewhere like Hackney, there's a lot of kind of options when it comes to the streets and criminality and stuff like that. Because there's so many people that are doing different bits and pieces, so you could kind of just join along in it, basically go along for the ride.
You could do anything, wherever you wanna, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything.
You can do anything, yeah, exactly. And usually that's like a downhill thing.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
You could end up going to prison. You could get locked up. You can get killed. All sort of things.
When you were outside, like, did you have any friends that got killed?
There are a few. A few things did happen, but I don't really want to go into it
Yeah, of
too
course.
much.
But obviously you've seen it though, like
Yeah.
Like, it's been around you and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Obviously you've made that transition where you just, 'cause
Yeah.
you've never been locked up and stuff like that, have you?
No, alhamdulillah. Nah,
Yeah, exactly.
nah.
Alhamdulillah, that's good. And what's it called? So, how was your Islam during them ages? Like early teens and 18, 19, 20 and stuff like that.
I'll be real with you. At the time, I wasn't really on the deen so much like that. I was too focused on what I really wanted to gain at the time. Islam probably would have been the last thing on my mind at that time.
Okay.
Obviously, these desirable things will take over. Anyone.
Because it's
can take
flashy.
over, yeah, of
you know,
course,
Especially if you don't have knowledge about Islam as well.
exactly.
Because I
So,
think our generation, we don't really have that knowledge of Islam till later on.
yeah, some people did have it, believe it or not. But it's each to their own, isn't it? If you want to go your separate ways and do certain things that where you're gonna constantly, kick yourself down. Only later on in life you'll probably realize, actually, whatever I've been doing all these years, it wasn't really worth it.
That's usually what happens as you get older. You realise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
whatever.
learning curve.
It's definitely a learning curve. So, like, when did you start thinking differently? Because obviously, for the first step, usually you start thinking differently. So, when did that start happening to you, and why?
It's taken a lot of things to change. I wanted to just be a better person. And obviously at the same time, you know, maybe bring that inner peace that I never had, you know.
Yeah.
The inner peace is the most important thing. When you ain't got no inner peace within yourself, it's difficult because you could have everything.
What made you start thinking like that though?
I don't really want to go great into it, but you know, personal things that's happened throughout my life, you know, and that's kind of made me think.
It made you reflect and traumatic stuff basically.
Yeah.
And made you start thinking a bit deeper and stuff like that.
Of course, 100%. Because these little things, when it happens to you, and then it makes you realize, you know, that you got to change your life. If you don't change your life, then there's not going to be, you know, nothing there to bring you back, you know.
And when you start thinking about changing your life and things like that, was it like Islamically orientated, or was it just like, I want to change my life?
I would say a bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say, you know, Islamically, you want to get closer to Allah, first and foremost. And everything else should fall into place, you know, inshallah.
So what was the first thing you start doing once you kind of try to walk away from that, you know, street life and whatever?
The first thing I tried doing is letting go of things that, you know, I shouldn't be holding on to.
Yeah.
So these are the first thing I tried.
Materialistic things.
Yeah, of course. All the materialistic things, all the things that, you know, can bring bad energy, you know. These sort of things I had to let go bit by bit. You know, it never happens overnight. Things like this, you know, it takes time. Nothing will happen overnight. You can't do it in a week.
No, nothing.
You can't even, you know, get anyone to help you. You have to do it yourself. It has to come within yourself.
Process.
Yeah.
And whatever.
It has to come within yourself, no matter what.
100%. And like when you first started practicing, how was your salon stuff like that? Were you doing like, you got straight onto it, or was it that gradual build-up?
No, it wasn't straight onto it or anything like that. Gradually you have to build, step by step. You have to take baby steps, and eventually, slowly, you'd get there, inshallah.
So once you kind of left, you know, the road and that materialistic lifestyle, what was your plan to how to earn money now, halal? What was your plan?
Obviously, try and get a job that's gonna pay, you know, a decent wage, something like that, you know. These are the things that I was thinking of. So at the time, whatever, you know, came to my mind, and I just went with the flow, isn't it? So
so sometimes that's a challenge within itself, like actually getting a job.
It is.
Because, you know, your ego and stuff like that.
It is. I'll tell you what, even when you get a job, right, whatever the salary you end up getting, it's no way near as whatever you were, you know, getting at the time, whatever you were doing, or whoever's doing whatever they want to be doing at the time.
That's how you feel.
That's how you feel. And you could imagine how it is, like the small amount of salary, and it will make you think as well, like, you know, what am I doing? Sometimes it actually makes you think like that. What am I doing? Because this little small little amount of salary that you're earning a month, end of the month, that's nothing, you know, compared to what you were getting in a week or in a day. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
100%.
So,
shit, don't play with your mind.
100%, bro. And, you know, stuff with Allah, obviously, that's what happens, isn't it? Like, you know, these things can take over easily. Yeah. I mean, it depends how deep you go into it. Yeah. You know, if you're falling into really deep and you can't bring yourself out of it, then you've got some serious problems. Yeah. But even then, I will still say, you know, it's never too late.
You got to keep trying. Can't give up, man.
Yeah. Never.
Whatever. So, you know, like, obviously, alhamdulillah, walking away from that lifestyle, you know, getting a job, and which is difficult. You know, even when I left the road, I was confused what to do next.
100%.
I was confused for a long time. You know.
You know what, Mohammed? Myself as well. Like, you know, I wasn't really that confused or anything, but it was more of the money that will make you think, and like, you know, you think to yourself, you know what, like, what am I even actually doing here? You know, because this money is not really nothing compared to what I was touching or what was, you know, what I was getting.
The way I see it, there's nothing wrong with having nice things, but it's the way you acquire them nice things. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, like, you know, like, I'm trying to be on my deen, but I'm not perfect because I've got many shortcomings that I fall into and whatever. Like, you know,
we all are.
You know, like little things like music and stuff like that, and whatever. Like, but there's levels of sins. So just because you do one sin doesn't mean you should automatically do another sin.
Of course
How
not.
people think, you know. So like selling drugs now, obviously, because you're selling drugs to, you're harming other people. Just know what I mean. So is a more of a higher severity of sin.
Of course.
Like if a man, for example, is sitting with inside his home, and let's say he smokes weed, for example, is wrong. He shouldn't be smoking. It's haram. But he's sinning on himself.
Yeah.
That's on him. You understand?
100%. That's
with-
just down to him.
Exactly. But with the drug dealing now, that's a whole different like level of sin. And what people will do, they'll be like, because you smoke weed, you might just sell it. Nah, it don't work like that. Our religion is not like, it's not, you don't summarize all the sins. It's like, everything is separate. Like, for example, like let's say if someone's drinking alcohol, that's one sin. Then you go, I don't know, start gambling while you're drinking alcohol. That's a separate sin. But the
100%.
mentality that what a lot of people have, because you drink, you just might as well gamble. No, it don't work like that.
No, it don't work like that. I mean, every sin has got a different element. And people needs to realize that and understand that, because for some reason, there's a stigma where people think it's okay. If you're doing certain things or a few things, it's okay for me to do the rest of the other things. But that's never the case, because it doesn't work like that. If it was like that, then everyone can do anything, whatever they want to do.
I'll give you an example. Me personally, like, look, my shortcomings. There's a place, Portobello, by Elaborate Grove.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite places in Jahiliyyah to go. It's just the vibe in the daytime. Because a lot of market stands out, and they do the international food in the market stands or
The
whatever.
vibe is different there.
The vibe is different, but at the end, there's a lot of Jahiliyyah there as well. You know.
Of course.
So this is just 2 years ago. My brethren called me, and his friend was opening a roti shop. It was Jamaican rotis.
Okay.
So he wanted to go look at the layout and whatnot. So we've gone there. Obviously, it's daytime. I think it was a Saturday. Oh yeah, pretty sure it was a Saturday. So we've gone there. It's packed out, and they have like the morning, like the afternoon kind of parties there in the pubs or clubs or bars, whatever they're called. So the roti place was right next door to a bar. Then you go downstairs, and there's an event, a little show going on or whatever, music and whatever. I'm not gonna lie. I'm outside the roti place, but I'm looking at the door. People are coming in and out. The vibe is a vibe, innit? It's a party in there.
Yeah.
I was so tempted to go inside. Like, I was so tempted to go inside. Like, I really wanted to go. Just have a look. Like, I just wanted to walk in, like, have a look.
So would you say you had that urgency of
Yeah. I could,
the adrenaline?
but because that's the type of music I liked. Just know what I mean? It's the type of vibe. It's exactly the vibe that I was used to from
totally.
outside. So one thing that helped was I was with my brethren. He's on his Dean proper. So he kind of said to me, yo, check yourself. I could see you're looking, and I was there. He goes, bro, check yourself, And I think if he wasn't there, it would have been, maybe walk down there and whatever. But he helped me just refocus, I was there and whatever. And like even to this day, I don't really drive through central London on Friday, Saturday night because it affects me. The vibe, central London. When I say outside the clubs, Mayfair and stuff like that, I don't like driving there because I would end up maybe parking up, and but you're in the
it could lead to so many.
You're
other
in the
things,
environment in Mayfair or wherever it may be. You understand what I mean? So I kind of just try to avoid that now. So sometimes you come from east, the shortcut is really coming through central at night because there's not much traffic.
Well, yeah.
So I don't do that. I go around because I go to Canning Town sometimes.
Okay.
So I cut around.
All the way around.
Yeah, because I don't like going through central at night. It was there because it brings up a lot of memories and whatever.
Yeah, of course.
So even sometimes in Jahiliyyah, we used to have this thing where we would just just plot up outside the club's area in the car and just bare man chatting or whatever. But you're in that environment, just know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whatever. So it's sometimes, it's a test, isn't it?
Of course.
Like one day you might lose, but you got to keep fighting, innit? Just
Of course. Every day, you have to fight your nafs,
Exactly.
The nafs is the important thing, Everyone has, so many issues, so many problems, but you got to keep trying. If you don't try,
but sometimes people are so judgmental. The people are judgmental.
100%. You get a lot of people who would instantly judge you for however you look or however you are or whatever you've been doing, But obviously, we shouldn't really go by that. I mean, we should leave it down to Allah. However that person is,
Exactly.
And if you feel like, you can trust that person, if you want to be with that person or, chill with that person, whatever it is you want to do, then you go ahead and do. But you shouldn't really have that perception. You
You
know.
know, sometimes people don't look in the mirror.
Mm.
So there was one brother, I can't remember. He was telling me about someone. I think someone was like with a girl or something. He's telling me something,
Mm.
and I looked at him, and obviously, like the guy's be very judgmental.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. I said, "Bro, I swear you got a mortgage." You just know what I mean? Like, what are you on about? Like you're judging the brother.
Yeah.
But you yourself have got a mortgage, which is a million times worse than what he's doing. There. So sometimes people feel like just bad-minded. You know what I mean? Because one of the worst things I feel that you could do. Somebody, you have an individual. Let's say he was a drug dealer. Let's say he did drink alcohol and things like that. But then to put him down, you always remind him of that.
Yeah.
You was an alcoholic. You was a drug dealer. It was there and whatever. And that's a bad. That's a very bad trait to have. I feel.
Of course.
And a lot of people do that. A lot of
100%. A lot of people still do it nowadays. Even I would know. Like I've got a few friends that who they will say it to one another probably. But these things obviously it can be you could easily put it aside rather than saying these things, because obviously you're going to hurt one another's feelings by saying certain things like
100%,
that.
yeah.
And there's no need to say any of that, because
Yeah,
however you lived your life, you lived your life. If you can turn away from it,
100%.
that's the most important thing. Alhamdulillah, if you can turn away from that and come away from it and walk the right path, that's the most important thing, and that's the beautiful thing. That's what you want.
So getting back to how you got to where you got to today. So you're praying now, you're on your deen and stuff like that. How did you go from there to washing dead bodies? Because that's not like when I see that job, like because it's a job that undertakers, and they call them undertakers, funeral directors or whatever. I just never understood how someone like opts to do that.
You know what, Mohammed?
How did you get into it first? Just let's get that out of the way.
Basically, one of my friends, he works for a different funeral company, and me and him, we used to sit and we used to talk about the funeral, deaths and whatnot, everything. We used to talk about it, amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
And one day he must have just spoke to me heart to heart. He said, "You know what? I think you might be good at this. I think you should try and give this a go." And then me being me, I thought to myself, do you know what? I don't mind. I was kind of intrigued by everything he used to say. I wanted to know more. And yeah, from there it just kind of took off, alhamdulillah. And then the brother introduced me to the funeral company that I'm working with right now. And yeah, it just took off from there.
How did you feel the first time you washed the body?
The first time when I washed the first body, I'll be honest with you, it was difficult. It was a young brother, Nigerian young brother, 19-year-old. And even I remember it like it's yesterday. He died in a car accident amongst with another friend of his as well. And believe it or not, it wasn't even his fault. It was someone else's fault. Because of someone else's fault, these two brothers, they lost their life, And the state that they were in as well, that kind of made me feel edgy, because it's my first time. I don't know, I've never really seen anyone like that in that kind of condition before, And I don't know, when I now think back to all of this, at the time, I would say I was quite a bit edgy as well. Slowly, obviously, as time went by, that's when I got a bit more comfortable. And obviously the brothers who taught me, who's been teaching me, they made it slightly more easy for me as well.
What is just to summarize it, what is the actual ritual of washing the body? What do you have to do for the people? Because there's no Muslims watching this, so they know that. So when Muslims die, you have to perform a washing of their body, which is called the ghusl, right?
Yeah.
So explain that, the process and what that is.
So the ghusl obviously takes place. It's a very straightforward, simple thing. There's many ways of people doing it. There are many people out there, they do it differently. The way I've been taught and the way I've been, doing it, I'm just gonna tell you as it is. Obviously, you have to prepare the deceased, and if there's any kind of like trap air or anything like that within their body and that, you have to try and get it out, like apply a little bit of pressure to the stomach area or chest area, firmly, and then if there's any kind of lines or any cannula or anything like that in the body, you have to remove all of that as well. If there's any tape, sticky bits that's stuck on there, you have to take all that off as well. So that, and then the most important two things is cleaning the private parts. So the front and the back passage, all of that you need to clean properly. That's the most important thing.
What do you mean by that? Like drain the urine out and stuff like that?
Well, no, I mean whatever comes out, if there is any urine, then it will come out.
Oh, that comes out when they die, yeah?
Well, of course, if there's anything there, if there's anything stuck there, anything, it might be a tube there, down there, anything.
Oh yeah, catheters and stuff like that. Yeah,
all sort of things. So you just don't know. There's a lot of things that you can face and you can come across. So it depends on the person, It could be a person where they just naturally just died. They might not even have anything on them. So so with that kind of person, that kind of disease, it's a very simple job, isn't it? You just clean them easily. You just clean the front and the back, and then after that you do the wudu, and then that's it. It's pretty straightforward, simple. Obviously, it's easy for me to just tell you as it is. If you were to put it more into practice, then obviously it would be different. You would understand a little bit more better if it was in practice.
Once like rigor mortis sets in, is there anything that you guys could do to straighten them out, the limbs and stuff like that?
Not really. I mean, you shouldn't try and tamper with the limbs or anything like that. I mean, from my understanding, however they died, or however the body is, the deceased is, you're meant to just leave it as it is. You shouldn't really tamper with it. I mean, if, let's just say, I don't know, I mean, from what I can remember, there were certain people I seen with my own eyes that the state that they came in, where the back might be hunched. It might be I don't know, like obviously it's strange. I don't know how to explain to you. When the angel, I feel personally, when the angel is taking the soul out of you, based on how you believed in Allah and how much you believed and how much goodness you've done, based on that, I think when the angel is taking your soul out of you, that's how you probably maybe give a quick reaction. It might be a good reaction, it might be a bad reaction, I think personally, because some people, obviously, you could see it, like certain deceased that they are kind of in discomfort, and there are others that who they look naturally peaceful, resting, subhanallah, and those are the ones that you can easily tell as well, they're glowing. Once you wash them, they look different as well.
How many bodies would you say you've washed up until today?
I wouldn't know, like I've been doing it almost 3 years now, so I don't know. Like,
how much would you say you do a month? 10?
Nah, more than that.
More than that,
bro. Because weekly, it depends. It kind of fluctuates. Weekly, like you just don't know. Average on a week, it can go up to more than 10.
More than 10.
Yeah.
So you're looking, say 40 a month. That's
Probably,
say average out 500 a year.
I've never ever calculated.
You've done over 1,500 bodies probably.
Allahu alam. I don't know.
And from just for the youngsters, especially the ones who want to be on the roads.
Yeah.
Out of them bodies you've washed, how many have been like road guys, gang members, or whatever you want to call them, drug dealers or whatever?
There's a lot of road young brothers out there who came through.
Stab victim.
Stab, gunshots, all sort of things. It's not pleasant, but yeah,
And how is it for you, obviously, because you've been outside a little bit and whatever, and you understand that life. So like 15-year-old, 18-year-old comes in, he's dead, slumped out.
It's sad to see these young brothers when they come through like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm speechless. In my days, and I'm sure in many other people's days, it was different. People, if they had any kind of issues, it will be a quick one-on-one thing. It won't lead to something horrific like this. People getting stabbed up or a gunshot or anything like that. You see what I'm saying?
And the knife wounds with the zombies must be terrible, isn't it?
Yes, it's terrible. It's like that's something. It's becoming normality right now. I've seen so many. Subhanallah,
So it's very common here for you.
Yeah. You see that a lot because it's rising, isn't it? Nowadays, it's all rising right about now. Like it's not stopping or anything.
What's the worst injury you've seen from a stab wound? Just so the youths understand so these youths, they carry knives, they want to be a part of that life. But in a way, how can I put this to put in a nice way? In this dunya, you're kind of end of the line, really. Just what I mean. You're the guy that's going to be washing their dead body. Just what I mean.
100%, yeah.
And whatever. So now he's 16 years old. He's on road. He's carrying a zombie, and you're the guy that's going to basically put him in the ground.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Basically, the way I see it is, however they end up, whether if it's in my firm or anyone else's firm, they will be the last person who's going to carry out that ghusl.
End of the line, isn't it?
Yeah, and then they're the one who's going to end up burying you with their loved ones.
What's the most horrific knife wound and bullet wound you've seen that caused death?
Knife, I would say, all kind of knife wounds I've seen. I mean, Rambo knife, machete,
Just cut man open.
Yeah, like literally, you could see their flesh, everything.
So that must be kind of like.
It's not pleasant.
It's not
None
pleasant,
of it is pleasant because I kid you not, when you see the flesh, when you see the wound, it's not nice. It's not pretty at all. And then not only that, when you got the loved ones in there.
They're watching sometimes, isn't it?
Of course.
How is that? I was just about to ask you that, So when you're washing the body, sometimes the loved ones are there and whatever. And how is it for them, especially when there's a young lad, car crash, stab wound, bullet wound?
It's devastating.
Devastating.
Yeah, of course.
Women don't be in there, right?
No. The men.
That'll make it even more traumatic.
Yeah, of course. Women cannot be in there because
it's
too much for them, and from my understanding, men's meant to just wash men, and the woman gets washed by the woman.
Before I continue today's podcast, guys, I want you guys to check out this company, Altitude. These guys do premium grade shilajit, very high quality, and one very important thing I noticed with this company is the shilajit is tested in the UK in a lab. So it's UK lab tested. They have a barcode on the back, which is very important to check and scan all the details and make sure everything's genuine. The packaging is high quality. I take the shilajit myself, and one little touch I really like that I haven't seen before, I like this. This is a metal kind of gold color spoon. It really looks really nice. Looks really nice quality to take your shilajit with every day. Guys, they're giving a 10% discount if you type in the code KICKUP. Capital letters, KICKUP on their website. Go check it out. All the links and the description box below. Check it out. One question I want to ask you. Obviously, you've been in the industry of death, basically, if you want to call it that. But people don't like talking about death, especially people from the culture. We come from the West. They don't like talking about death because they want the dunya. How do you find that subject of people talking about it within the community and things like that?
To be honest, a lot of brothers, they don't really talk about death. I don't think they will probably even think of death as much because the desirable things weighs up the scale, and a lot of people, they're more into that desirable things, whatever it is, whether they're chasing or whether they're gaining, whatever it is they're doing. But that's one thing I can tell you right now, that no one wants to talk about death. No one wants to, really think about it. And it's sad because, when it's someone of their loved ones that passes away, that's when they will only come and then that's when if they realize, that's when they will kind of realize. But then if it's not meant to happen for them, believe me, as I said early on, yeah, some people, they will end up talking about dunya, and that will be it, and they will pray the janaza, and that's it.
Go.
Done. It's done.
Yeah, because they don't want to face reality,
Yeah.
man.
But the deep thing is, obviously, you want to understand and realize that, you know what, one day that's going to be me, and I should actually think about my own death as well. You know, amongst with friends as well, even talk about it, because there's nothing wrong with talking about that.
Because from the religion, it should like to boost your iman. Like you should visit the graves and stuff like that, right?
Of course. The cemetery you're meant to go and visit on a regular basis, because of we're meant to remember the fact that, you know, this is where we're going to be, you know, ended up. Like, we're going to end up going in there, and this is our home. That's our actual home. And yeah, everything will begin from there. You know, from my understanding, everything will start from there, and it would, you know, lead up to many other things.
It's deep, man.
And yeah,
It's true.
but
as well.
the sad thing is, our, you know, not just young generation, everyone from, I know, even to the old folks as well, no one wants to talk about
They don't
death.
like talk about death.
No one wants to talk about death, because that's not
Pleasant.
pleasant. One, it's not pleasant, and two, you know, it's not something. It's not on their cards. It will be you see plenty of other things that will come out their mouth, and they will be talking about.
And not
Do you know what I mean? But not no death. You know,
That's deep still. It's definitely is like a taboo subject. People don't like talking about it. You know?
100%. You know, and
Whatever.
this is the thing that we should try and understand. Like,
Remind
even
ourselves of.
yeah, because even that can also lead us to change ourselves as well.
100%. You were saying before, or Sammy was saying earlier, that you saw a decapitated body.
Yeah, I think that was the brother who, I don't know, Allahu Alam, if he fell on the train tracks, or I don't know exactly what, but yeah.
A lot of people commit suicide like that as well.
Yeah,
but,
it might be, I don't know what it was, but yeah, that was another horrific one. Like, you know, imagine, you know, you just open up a body bag and you're preparing it to wash that person, and you open up the body bag and you see the head ain't even there. You know, the head is near the arm.
wow. Clean off.
All you see is the neck.
Right,
So
peak.
that's how deep things are. You know, people needs to realize.
That's the reality, isn't it, man?
Yeah, 100%.
Does it increase your man doing this?
Yeah, of course it's gonna increase, but the downside of that is obviously it can
Trouble you.
trouble you 100%. Like, it can be on your mind as well, because you know, after seeing that, you're not gonna be, you know, you won't be able to sleep for a
Seriously.
good couple of weeks or so. Yeah,
Do you have nightmares?
I wouldn't say you have nightmares or anything like that, but it's just, you know, that thought is always going to be on your head, like, you know. And then not only that, obviously, you feel for the family, you feel for the person, the deceased as well. Like, you know, you'll think all sort of things will come to your own mind, how it happened, what led it to happen, or what led it to go into that stage. You see what I'm saying? Like, all these things will come to your mind, even, you know, with the stabbing and all that as well, or the gunshots and everything as well. Everything will come to your mind, and you'll be thinking, like, you know, what the hell is going on? Like, why would someone even let it get to that? You shouldn't even let it, you know, go to that.
So just some kid is put it over nothing as well.
Of course.
So
I remember
jumps
many years ago, near Hackney Road, a young brother, obviously, he stabbed up a guy only for, I think, like 15 or 20 quid or something like that. And, you know, in those days, it was, you know, it was cheap. Weed was cheap.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So 15, 20 quid is nothing, but for the brother who was selling it, for him it was something. So he didn't let him off. He stabbed him up not once, but I think more than 20 times.
That's for a bag of weed.
Yeah. So that ain't even nothing, man, because nowadays you're hearing all sort of things. People do all kind of crazy things, you know.
You know, when one of these youngsters pass away from, like, you know, gangs and that, obviously their friends come to the janaza, and obviously you're there, right? And whatever. do they seeing their like friend dead, 16 years old, does that have any type of impact on the other youngsters who are in gangs?
To be honest, when they come, personally, I don't know how much impact it does have, but I feel as if some maybe not have that much of an impact, and there are others, a few, who will have a serious impact on their lives and on their mind as well. But I would say probably majority of the people that come through, it doesn't really have that much effect. Allahu Alam, but I feel strongly like that only because what I see on a day-to-day. Because if you were to take something seriously, you'd want to make that change, isn't it?
100%, yeah.
And obviously, when are you going to make that change? It has to come as soon as, isn't it?
Sometimes it might take something tragic to...
Exactly. But when you see brothers coming in, and then, for that time period, you'd see, the brothers are there and whatnot, but then at the same time, you see the whole dunya stuff is also in their mind as well. You see what I'm saying? So that kind of sidetracks them easily. So imagine that, subhanAllah, I've seen people, man. Imagine your loved one is there, and then you got a bunch of people there as well, and they're yapping away, and they're talking about
just
the dunya.
dunya stuff,
Yeah, man.
Because they ain't seen someone
Even
for a
in the
long
cemetery
time.
as well.
Bro, do you know the craziest... It's not even crazy, but it's normal now. So you find, like, sometimes, with some of these drug dealers, street figures, because they know the janaza is going to attract a lot of people. If somebody dies, especially if it's a younger brother, that's going to always attract a lot of people. So I've seen with my own eyes, brothers come there with their best watch on, their best clothes on, and the best car.
Yeah.
Because they know at the janazah there'll be a lot of other people there, and I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen guys who I know they wear stainless steel watches, Rolexes, every day.
Yeah.
They don't wear their gold. The gold one's like, one in the bluey. But because the janazah, he's deliberately put on his gold watch.
Yeah, and he's come out like that.
And I'm like, yo, this is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm looking like, that's just, mad and whatever. So it's deep. Another thing I want to touch on as well, we had a friend of ours, he's a Reebok brother, died, may Allah give him Jannah. So because he was a Reebok brother, his family was non-Muslim. And the mother, I think she might have been an atheist, I can't really remember, but it was something along them lines, I don't think she was a Christian. I'm pretty sure she was an atheist or something, or maybe agnostic. So because obviously she's the mother, we can't access the body. So she was saying no, she's going to cremate it, because that's cheaper for her, I think, innit? The cremation is cheaper, right?
It is cheaper, yeah.
Yeah, so she said she's going to cremate it, and we was like, nah, you can't do that. She understand? And people, the brothers start, basically negotiating with her.
Wow.
And saying, look, like you can't do this, innit? You understand what I mean? In the end, she said, okay, that's fine. You guys could take the body, go make the ghusl, because he's a friend of mine, innit? So I had to, me and one of my other friends, we arranged it. Other brothers put money in for the the burial or whatever.
Was that in East London?
No, that was in our ends down in Reading.
Okay.
And whatever. I don't want to say the brother's name on camera and whatever, but everyone knows who I'm talking about from the ends. So alhamdulillah, we managed to get his body. The masjid washed it and whatever. So they let us do the janazah prayer over him. Once we'd done the janazah prayer, because the mother then took the body to the funeral, and obviously that's when a lot of people came, Jahil people, not Muslim people. And I was I went to the graveyard as well, obviously. And I see people, spilling alcohol. The American thing they do.
Yeah.
And I was vexed. But obviously the funeral, a lot of people, sad. He was quite a young brother, he wasn't old. And I was angry, but I was like, alhamdulillah, at least we managed to get his body, make the ghusl, and pray over him. That was the main thing. Alhamdulillah, then he got buried in the end, and whatever. So obviously you've probably got a lot of experience with this as well, reverts, passing away and whatever. Like, tell us about that and what advice you would give them to protect themselves from the exact problem I mentioned.
For the Revet brothers, I would say, what? Have someone who is close, whether it's a family member or a close friend. Make sure that they know exactly what you want and what your wish is, so they can fulfill that as well, inshallah. And look into it how to go about it as well. If you don't understand, or if you don't know how to go about this, get in touch with your local masjid, or any brotherhood that you can get hold of, and inshallah someone will help you. That's what I would personally say, rather than facing something like that. I've kind of not long ago, I think we had something similar to that as well, but alhamdulillah, the Revit brother, he managed to get buried as well here. I can't remember the name, but but his family also wanted to cremate the young man as well.
Okay.
But then somehow, I don't know how, I don't know who it was.
A lot of other brothers get involved behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who, I don't really know the names of the brothers, but these brothers who are working behind the scenes, when they do get on, they're hands on.
The whole weight in the community,
Yeah.
behind the scenes or whatever. I think I know what you're talking about.
So it's important that these people, that they understand, like, get that knowledge.
I think what might be a good thing is get a will, get it authenticated basically, and
it's signed by you, and
exactly,
no one can turn around and say that it's been dictated and whatnot, or it's been tampered or anything like that, or someone's gone over their wishes.
Because I have noticed for our Revit brothers, mashallah, bless them, that is a problem sometimes when they pass away. Families make
it
issues.
can be very difficult, and at that moment is the stressful time, because you can now imagine the brothers or whoever's around at the time, and they only know what was the wish of the brother or the sister, and you're trying to fulfill it, and if there's other people, third party or whoever it is, even if it's the parents, they're the ones who's kind of stopping it from happening, and that can be difficult, but there's people out there who can help you as well.
So what would happen if the Muslim individual doesn't have money, or his family don't have money? Then what would happen?
So then, you'll have the likes of other people who will come forward, and they will try and help carry, do the funerals basically. So I think I think supporting humanity, Muslim fund.
Okay.
These brothers, they will come forward, and then they will help the family basically.
And especially to the youngsters, that want to be in gangs. And want to get involved in this beef thing or whatever. So if you want to get involved in that, make sure you give your mum $5,000 until I hold that $5,000. Because imagine you get killed for the street, and then your mum doesn't have money for your funeral.
Yeah, subhanallah, yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
That's crazy, because at the end of the day, you know what? That's not only just for your mum. You got to think about your own self as well.
100%.
Because if you now were to, Allah forbid, if you were to now die, now you become a huge burden on your whole entire family. Because imagine if they ain't got the funds, and they don't know how to go about with this. What are they meant to do? So imagine those families who come from not a wealthy background, and they have nothing. How are they meant to go about with this?
Like I said, it's very deep, and people don't think that far ahead sometimes.
No, of course not.
You put the trauma of a young lad dying on the road, getting stabbed, on his mum, and then on top of that, the dunya trauma of she can't get the money to, So you need really to think about that.
100%. And then can I just also say as well, even if you were to have the haram money sitting or stacked up,
you can't even bury yourself with that.
You can't really bury yourself with that. And even if you wanted to bury yourself, you could bury yourself, but then think about what will come. SubhanAllah, what will come towards you, I don't think there's going to be any good that will come towards you. You think about that.
You know what? That's one angle I never thought about, Imagine dying as a drug dealer, and then your drug money is burying you in the ground.
It's mad, isn't it?
I never thought of that, That's actually crazy.
SubhanAllah, that's how deep things can get.
That is very
deep. But that's why logically you got to think about everything, whether it's your life, your own life, whether it's your family, your siblings, your kids, your parents, your friends, your community, everything falls into one.
The last question I want to ask you and leave the audience with is a big question. It's the main question that I wanted to ask as well. In 2003, there was a cassette back in the day. I heard of an imam called Ahmed Ali. I think he's from Bradford. Sheikh Ahmed Ali, I think his name is, and it was about drugs and dying while you're high, alcohol, weed, and whatever. So I'm listening to this tape, astaghfirullah, smoking weed while I'm listening to it. It got me so shook. I should actually stop at the zoo. I was like, yo, this is crazy. We had a bit of a man, you know? So I didn't stop then. I stopped about 4.5 years later. I stopped.
Down the line.
You know, it was a process. But after I heard that tape, it was always in the back of my mind. Before I heard that tape, I used to say I'm going to smoke weed until I'm an old man, because I still love smoking weed. But once I heard that tape, I just could never enjoy the buzz of smoking weed, because that tape would pop back into my mind now and then. And you would think, oh man, I don't want to die like this, you know, and whatnot. So, alhamdulillah, 4.5 years later, I said to myself, I do not want to die while I'm high.
Alhamdulillah.
And that was the only reason why I stopped smoking weed. There was no other reason. I just didn't want to meet Allah in that state, because I wasn't really an alcohol drinker. Like, weed was my thing. But the problem with weed was you smoke it as soon as you wake up or when you leave the house, and then the last thing you do, because you smoke the zoot before you go to bed. So you're going to definitely die while you're high. Even when you're sleeping and you die, you're still high, you're intoxicated.
Of course.
So what I wanted to ask you was that, have you seen people died in the state of being intoxicated? Alcohol especially, you know, weed and stuff, and what's the smell on their bodies and stuff like that?
Well, alhamdulillah that, you know, you come a long way and you've, you know, managed to get yourself out of that, you know. Alhamdulillah. You know, that's a big thing, because, you know what, like, I can relate to that a little bit, but from a different angle. But I don't really want to go into it too much, but I'm just going to brush up on it. Like, obviously, it is sickening, like, if you're trying to smoke or drink or whatever it is you want to do, waking up or sleeping. That's the worst thing you can do, because, you know, imagine at the time the angel of death was to come and takes your soul out of you, and you are in that state, and that's the state that you're going to be leaving this dunya, you know. So
scary.
Of course, like, I would never want to be. Now, from what I've known, I would not want to be in that state. Never. I wouldn't want anyone to be in that kind of state, because at the end of the day, you know, Allah knows what will happen. You know, I try to comprehend that in my own mind, what will happen at that time. Can you imagine that?
Angels coming and taking your soul in your
but you're in that state. So smell obviously depends on the person and how the body is. I mean, if the body is preserved in a way where, you know, Allah is showing good things, then alhamdulillah you see goodness. And if it's, I don't know, I mean, you know, if Allah wants to show something different, totally different, then, you know, you'll have all kind of different smells. Depends, you know. There could be, you know, a person who, you know, the body's kind of decomposing quicker. So things like that, you know, if you come across a body like that, then yeah, it's more.
And does the smell make it difficult for you? Like,
the smell is not a normal smell. The smell is like out of this world smell, I would say. Like, you know,
seriously?
Yeah, it's not a smell that, you know, that you smell every day. It's something different.
That's
so deep. You know, I'll personally say, those who think they can come and just do the ghusl and that,
it's not that easy.
It's not that easy. It's not that straightforward, because you know, there's a lot to it. It's not just that. Like, you come across all kind of bodies. So it could be a really bad one. It could be a body where, you know, you might have parasite maggots eating away. And yeah, what are you gonna do then? You know, you can't really do nothing. You might, you know, see all sort of things. So it depends, innit? Like, you know. But personally, I would say they're the kind of smells and they're the kind of things that you can come across. But it depends on the person as well, how much, you know, righteous they lived their life. You know, if they lived their life just fulfilling Allah, that's it. You know, their soul is elevated differently.
Inshallah.
SubhanAllah, it's different for them. And the ones who, has been on a different path, different level, then those one you will see something else. You know, unfortunately, that's how it goes.
Scary still, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely. But bro, it's been an excellent podcast, and I appreciate you coming down. Before we sign off, just leave, especially the youngsters, with advice and maybe some general advice, you know, for preparing for the hereafter.
The young brothers and sisters out there, I would say, you know, start gaining knowledge. You know, you could start off slowly, take your time, do, you know, start seeking for that, you know, peace, the inner peace. Everyone wants that inner peace, and you should start somewhere. And wherever you want to start, you start somewhere. It could be anywhere. But if you don't make that first step, then it will never come to you. And no one is going to be able to push you or drag you and change anything for you. Same with the non-believers as well. You know, they can't, there's no one, you and I, we won't change anyone. They need to change themselves.
100%.
It needs to come within themselves.
Just seek knowledge, definitely.
100%. So, you know, I personally strongly believe that if you want to make that kind of change and you want to change your ways or your habits or whatever it is, you got to do it yourself. And obviously there's always helping hand there available. Everything's available. You know, nowadays you have your phone, you know, click a finger, everything's there.
Information's there, yeah.
Everything's there. But the thing is, you want to be careful as well, because obviously not everything may be true and not everything might
you got to be
seem,
very careful.
yeah, not everything might seem 100%, you know, legit. So these are the things, like, you know, you need to seek. The knowledge is there for us to learn.
Definitely, man.
Read up on it, and you know, there's so many sheikhs, imams out there. Ask them. Never feel shy, you know. And there's always, you know, the doors are always open. Allah's door is always open.
Always open.
Always open, man. Subhanallah. And I strongly believe, I and many other people out there, if you can change your own ways, man, anyone can do it. You don't need to, you know, say to yourself, oh, I'm gonna wait till 10 years or 15 years, or I'm gonna wait till when I'm 60.
Is it?
Yeah, don't be saying anything like that, because that life is not guaranteed at all.
100%.
Because right now I could be walking out from your place here, and that's it, khalas.
Done.
Yeah, I'm done.
That's
you
how
see,
it goes, yeah.
that's how life is. That's how short our life is. We think our life is long, but it's not. Really, truly, it's not.
Definitely.
That's one thing. Yeah, after working with the dead people, I would personally say, you know, our life is, you know, actually really short. You know,
it's fragile.
Yeah, of course, and we need to prepare ourselves. You know, because the time might come, and we need to be ready for it.
That is the final destination.
Yeah, yeah,
that is
100%.
it. Everyone's definitely.
You know, the
that train.
cemetery, the Qabristan, yeah, that's where our whole thing's gonna start from. Really,
Yeah.
truly, it starts from there.
That's from there. That's
Yeah.
true. 100%. That's deep,
Yeah.
man.
Say that, so
Yeah,
if
yeah.
he touches on that, it can
Actually, we finished with that. Then we.
control that.
Yeah, so that's actually a good question.
Mm.
So the brothers ask you a question. You know, like the people outside, especially from the roadside, they want a status. You know, rappers, drug dealers, or whatever, whatnot. But when that individual passes away, they refer to that person as just the body, innit? The body.
Yeah, I mean,
So you go from this big name to just being called the body.
just the body. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, not just. It doesn't even have to be rappers and gangsters and all that. Yeah, it could be anyone. It could be, you know, a brother who's just burying his father. Yeah, even that person will automatically, as you are traveling to the cemetery, you could automatically just turn around and say, yeah, I'm with the deceased, or I'm with the dead body, you know? So just like that,
You become a body.
yeah, 100%. And imagine your relation, it could be your mother, it could be your father, your, you know, anything, your daughter, your son. Instantly, it just becomes a body. And end of the day, that status, whatever status you had at the time,
Gone.
it's all gone. Everything's gone.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
And you might get remembered here and there, but
Well, I'll tell you what, give it 6 months,
forget about you.
6 months, and then a year, it will be all gone. No one's gonna remember any of that, because end of the day, you be only known for that time period until another person comes and then they do the same. Remember, it's just a cycle. Everyone's doing a little cycle, and that's what we need to try to change as well, because that kind of attitude, that kind of bad mind thing that we have needs to change. It needs to change, because
the sins with the tongue. People think they're such a minor little thing, and whatever. I said, them sins you're doing with your tongue might be worse than the one who's doing something what you think is worse.
100%.
Do you understand?
You know what, Mohammed? By you mentioning the tongue, our tongue is the one that commits the most sin. Like, we say so many things.
The Prophet said, if you could control what's in between your lips and what's between your legs, i.e. the private parts, he said, I will guarantee you paradise. Because they're the most two difficult things to control,
of course,
because of desire.
Yeah, of course.
That's
why you got to fight your own inner demons. Definitely. We all have inner demons within ourselves. Sometimes we easily say, oh, it's the shaitan, this person or that person or this. That's all nonsense. It's mostly, I personally believe, it's within our inner self, the inner demons within ourselves, and that's what can cause a lot of conflict within ourselves and others around us as well.
Guys, thank you for watching. It's been an amazing podcast and very eye-opening, man, and I hope we definitely take some lessons and some benefit from this. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace. Guys, today's podcast is in partnership with Stone & Co solicitors, experts in serious and complex criminal matters. If you have a criminal matter that you need help with, or you've been arrested and want the best representation, contact the number below or drop them an email. All the information is on the screen below, as you can see. Stone & Co can offer specialist criminal defense services on a private basis or legal aid, so you don't pay nothing. And as a promotional offer, they're offering a case review in person or over the phone, free of charge, no obligation, no fees, and they'll take a look at your case, guys.